It is one thing to know what, another thing to know how, but it's totally different thing to know why. Good morning. You are welcome to Teachers Daily Devotion. And today we are going to be looking at another skill, and it continues till Friday. We are going to be looking at critical thinking. Critical thinking. We've looked at adaptability. We've looked at communication skill. Critical thinking tends to be very central to all the soft skills you can think of, especially the one they call 21st century skill, whatever skill in any 10 skills for a particular year, but for a particular scene or a particular endeavor, you will see critical thinking, analytical thinking is somewhere in day. And one of the things I observe really is critical thinking in education. It is one skill that you hear people talk about a lot. Develop student critical thinking here, critical thinking there. I mean, some of us have gone through that Mr. Opeifa had not gone through in school. We cannot say critical thinking. I mean, critical thinking. I mean, there was a particular time I would always, just call me to invite me to talk anywhere. I must mention critical thinking. And how did I define, or how do I define critical thinking wherever? I mean, I learned that critical thinking is your ability to think outside. Analyze, synthesize. But I have just summed it up to say that it is your ability to think outside the box or even think outside a book, because it's related to education now. It's ability to think beyond the book, your ability to now ask that big question, and that is why. Now, oftentimes teachers don't actually ask why, and most of the time employees generally don't ask why. We wait for the policy, we wait for the curriculum, we wait for whatever is given to us, and then just given to us to implement. Even some of us even take our pride in, no, I didn't form it. You didn't form it, but you can recreate it. Look at it. When you want to create your objectives, you are always told that use the Bloom taxonomy, and the revised Bloom taxonomy tends to have one thing at the apex, that is create. So it is, if you are teaching students how to become creative, how to create ideas, how to innovate. Now, what are you really create? Are you helping yourself to become that in the first place? Can you even give what you don't have? No. So you need to be a good critical thinker, okay, before you can even inculcate it into students. So basically, this week we're going to be looking at a different way, and we look at how we can even develop. We'll also evolve into next week, where we are going to look at how to become an entrepreneurial thinking teacher. I mean, you don't want to miss that. So this Monday, as you know, is just to motivate us, it's just to inspire us to say that yes, we need to go out there and hone our skill. And one skill I want you to really focus on this week is your ability to challenge it out of school, is your ability to look at complex situation in education and say, how can we solve this? And why do we need to even do things this way? Let me tell you a story that happened quickly. In some years after my NYSC, I got a teaching job, and as soon as I got to the school owner complained that we English teachers, we don't go to class with cassette to play sound to the student. I'm like, man, who does that? So I took my time to look for other things, softwares online, and I got them. Lo and behold, I left the school and I found myself in a public school. I mean, if I'd gotten those softwares in my computer then, I could have used the school laptop and other things. I mean, the school projector to do it. But I found myself in a public school where I felt, oh, why? Why not? I could still use the same thing here. Faced with how many students? About 70 of them. As I was about playing the sound, I said, "Look, everybody come and see." I mean, that was a big mistake of my life. Anyway, they all rushed to me, and then I almost lost my laptop. But I stopped using that, and I started thinking of what else I could do. One day I was teaching the sound, and I said, instead of if you want to learn how to pronounce the ba, say, I mean, ba sound, right? Say ba, but find a way of removing the a. Then I discovered that I said ba da ga, and that reminded me of what the lecturer taught us in school that we never liked. I mean, we never liked the way he was teaching sound in those days. We would say badaga to teach the plosive, that's the voice plosive. So I said badaga. Then I realized that the students would love it this way. So we went on with badaga, manaon, larawaya, badaza, jaja. I mean, I've given you almost all the voice sounds in English language, just wrapping around it. And I say, oh, what did you do? Can we do it again? So it became a rap, and I started thinking outside the box there that, okay, must I go with cassette? Must I go with even software? This is a local environment where I can domesticate ideas, and that's how a critical thinking teachers should think. That was what led to form-based learning edutainment. And then if you hear that I've won 1 or 2 awards today, This is exactly what gave me that your ability to think outside the box. I will come to what I observed later, but let's quickly challenge some status quo in education. I mean, let's even ask ourselves that question. They tell you your reward is in heaven as a teacher, and you accept it like that. I mean, so many of us that tend to challenge it, even tend to still accept it. When you accept it, then ask yourself, why did they say my reward is in heaven? Look at it. They will say, hey, we cannot pay you here. Only mention that company, mention one big oil company that can pay you. You now walk into an organization, say, only this can pay. It means that when you want to charge them, you have to charge them according to where you are coming from. And they believe you are coming from heaven anyway. Why not build yourself in that way? They call you for homeless and you're asking for, I mean, peanuts. I'm not saying you should overcharge or be crazy, okay? But I mean, repackage yourself in such a way that tell them my working like an heaven-based person, so you need to pay me. I need to live heaven on earth. Okay, so those are the ways you can talk, and then that shows that you are thinking critically. They say that the teaching job is a passion job. Yes, a passion job, but you know what I tell you, passion is not enough. Professionalism is what will take you there. Those are the things the way you can respond to show that you are thinking. No teacher, no nation, right? Ask yourself, is it true? Sincerely, is it true? If there's no teacher in this country, do you think, I mean, teacher, like the way you are like teacher, I'm not talking about those who just say teacher anyway. No teacher, no nation. It's not. And if it is true, then I need to just be at the forefront of being the one determining what goes into this country. I should determine the curriculum. I mean, let's start doing that. By the time you start doing that, you realize that. Now, let me say this. In education, I discovered that only few teachers are in the forefront of innovation and creating solutions. Check it. 70% of the solutions, new apps, and all these things that we have in education now, they are created by non-educators or quasi-educators. Check it now. When UT JAM started online exams, right? So computer-based exams, all the CPT softwares we have, how many were created by teachers? Now we are doing a lot of MEs and the rest now. How many of these MEs stuff are created by teachers? Is it that we don't know how to do it? Well, no, because we have found ourselves a culture that has boxed us into, okay, just carry your chalk, carry your pen, go to the class, teach, mark at the end of the week. You want to change that thinking. So finally, today, let's look at why critical thinking is essential. The world is changing. If you still want to remain relevant, critical thinking is what you need. I love what some young guys are doing. Where I see young guys, where I see you all young together, they are going into online schools and then they're not just doing it in the usual way, like let me just take home lesson. No, they are building real business out of it. Kudos to you guys. Fantastic work they are doing there. You see them creating real business out of it. Those are the people thinking outside the box. Check it. Many of them are saying no to the classroom. I mean, they are calling the block of school owners and then they are coming and they are solving problems at the same time making a lot of money. Critical thinking. The world is changing. You may be left out if care is not taken. If you are supposed to be a change maker, as I've said earlier, so you need to think critically. If you also want to solve, you will be a good problem solver, hone your problem solving skill, critical thinking is also important. I love this one. If you want to inspire your students, you must be a critical thinker. In a school I worked recently, students tend to come to my office a lot. And one day, one of them said that because you don't think like a conventional teacher, you think differently. Even when I joke with them, it's something a little bit outside the box, something a little bit extra. So you want to hone your critical thinking. And finally, we need advocates in teaching. Okay. So if you want to really go into advocacy for this profession, you need to be a critical thinker. So throughout this week, we're going to be looking at how to hone our critical thinking ability, how to stand out when you talk, and then you'll be like, wow. I mean, and the advantages in it for you, how you can make money thinking outside the box, some things you can do differently. We are going to be looking at that. And throughout you do that. And then upper week, we are going to be looking at becoming an entrepreneurial thinking teacher. So before we go today, our action plan for today is ask why today. Don't be rebellious, okay? But make sure you just ask why. Why am I teaching this way? Why do my students need to face the front? Can't we scatter them and they face everywhere? Ask why. You may find an answer to your question and then you are still cool with it, but always ask why. Ask why today. Let's take our affirmation quickly. I am a critical thinker. I challenge assumptions. I seek better solutions. I inspire change in my classroom and beyond. I am a critical thinker. I challenge assumptions. I seek better solutions. I inspire change in my classroom and beyond. In closing, teachers, critical thinking is key to unlocking your growth for yourself and for education. Don't settle for the status quo. Ask why and think deeply. Lead boldly also. Thank you for joining today. We are glad to have you. And thank you for being a teacher. You are highly celebrated. till I see you tomorrow morning. Enjoy your day.